Run Pure Sports, Andy Lack. And
good morning, man, or good afternoon for you on the East Coast. How we doing? I hear you're battling. You're a little bit under the weather this week.
Yeah, these pirates from RPS came to town for our annual party, and they brought all these, ancient diseases with them. So I've been struggling this week, and I'm getting through it now. But was it diphtheria or something? I don't know. I need a diagnosis from Natalie. Some sort of animal disease that bit me this weekend. So if I start coughing randomly, I'm going to go on mute and just spin out and come back. And there we go. No, I'm going to be fine. I can plow through this. You got to be a pro.
Big week.
Well, let's talk about last week. So
yeah.
So here's what I want to take away from API, and I put it in my notes for next year, is that I think the importance on hitting fairways is probably the most important thing at the Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill, because the rough was maniacal, and fairways and greens and reg. I mean, even if you had a nice approach shot, you were rolling it out into what almost was the first cut of deep rough. And I think that's the unfairness point that a lot of these players, you'd see Fitzpatrick, I think it was on Friday. Yeah, he didn't make the cut. He was losing his mind. I mean, he was hitting decent shots. They'd end up rolling off the green into this 7-foot rough. You couldn't even hack out of it. And, but did the best player win? Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Scheffler conversation always needs to be viewed in the context of what is going to happen if Scheffler finally figures out his putter? And I think that there were a lot of questions entering the week about, he finally made the switch, which is something we talked about. He switched to the mallet spider, which is something we had talked about after Riviera, where we talked about on this show, is this rock bottom with Scheffler in terms of the putting? And now he's going to play twice between now and the Masters, and how we'd both be pretty surprised if he entered Augusta with the status quo, right? Because if there's ever a time to make a change before the Masters, you got to do it at API. You got to do it at API, because then you roll into the Players. And then I'm not sure if I don't know if he's playing the Valspar. I don't think he's playing the Valero, but after this week, we're not going to see Scheffler until the Masters. And he made the switch. And I think what's probably the scariest thing for the field is he started to get better as the tournament progressed, right? He started out round one and the putter was pretty bad. He was 55th out of 50, frustrated, 55th out of 65 players, 69 players on Thursday, 28th out of 69 players on Friday, 10th out of 69 players on Saturday, and first out of 69 players on Sunday, which he didn't even need, by the way. Scotty would have won this tournament as a 0 putter, and he won by 5 because he gained 4.5 strokes putting.
On 12, he yelled at Teddy Scott. I think it was on Saturday. Oh, he yelled at himself, but he said something fucking Scotty. So, and he acknowledged that after the round that Scott kind of calmed him down and put him in a better head state.
Yeah.
And after that, it was over. And you're right. The thing with Scotty Scheffler is he doesn't hit any bad shots. Even the maybe not great shots are still good. And even if he gets into trouble, look at where his stance was on that par 5 coming in yesterday. He had no stance in the bunker, hit a little iron shot out to be safe, and then wedged to 3 feet for birdie.
Yep.
And at this point, like we said last week, if he finds a putter, he's unstoppable. Who's going to beat him? Lowry acknowledged it. He's like, there's only 2 people on earth that can keep up with this guy. I don't even think it's 2. Who are the 2? Maybe Rahm, but he's not on tour anymore. I mean, that was sort of Tiger-esque, right? Hitting everything to 9 feet, within 9 feet, and making the putt. So what's different this week at the Players?
price and ownership, I'd say. I mean, I think we should do I think a lot of people enjoyed our courtroom Minwoo Lee debate last week, which I think we should put a bow on that if you wanna spend about 5 minutes recapping the Minwoo Lee experience.
Yeah.
I have some closing thoughts on that. But why don't we do that again this week? Because I think that's the biggest question on everyone's mind is what to do with Scheffler. And he is 12. This is the highest price that we've seen on Scheffler and the highest price we've seen on any golfer. And I can effort that if you want to filibuster for a little bit, and I can check when the last time we've seen a golfer price 12.8. But I think because of DraftKings just really capricious in how they are approaching each week from a pricing standpoint. After, in a 69-man field, we go back to the tighter, more concise pricing. Now we have golfers 12.8 to 5K. And I think because you have a fairly robust range of 5K golfers and a lot of really good golfers in the sixes, shout out Billy Ho, I think that's going to make the Scheffler, a 12
There's an
point,
even better one. There's an
right.
even better one.
Oh, we'll get there. A 12.8 Scheffler in a slate where it goes down to 6K is very different than a 12.8 Scheffler on a slate where there are many viable options in the 5K range.
Yeah, capricious is a flex. That's flex 1. So let's be honest, that's flex 1.
Right. We'll get to 8. I'm at the over under is 7.5.
Well, here's if you want to do some digging, I said this on the show with Keith Stewart. I think I did. Perhaps it was our show, but I said the model that you need to employ is you need to disregard pricing and ownership and look at this like a best ball and select the best players you can select. And without a doubt, if everyone had choice 101, if this was a true best ball, every person on earth now would pick Scheffler. I think at a 99% clip. Okay. So that disregard price and disregard price because there are some plays this week that may be worse to me than Minwoo Lee based on what happened last week. I think who I'm going to talk about, who I don't typically like, but his stats really showed out and he looked like a really good golfer. We'll get to that. But this week, if we want to talk about the course itself, it's another Florida swing brute. Andy, your article is up. The articulate, well thought out, well edited article about, you're one of two this week. It's behind the paywall, of course, at Run Pure Sports. And here's what we want to do, by the way. Join Run Pure Sports, code Andy15 or RPS 15, your choice.
Or Andy. I think is Andy still active too? I throw out Andy.
That costs me more though.
I throw out Andy and wait, but Andy and Andy 15 should be getting combined.
Every combination of Andy, Andrew, Andy 15, Toy Story, whatever is you have it. Like we fucked up so badly, we created a million codes for you.
So tell people because we're gonna do some giveaways, right?
Here's what we're gonna do. And by the way, someone in our Discord, our extremely active Discord, I have 20,000 messages. And
Too active.
We
need to shrink the game. Yeah, too active.
It's insane. But here's the thing: when we're sweating picks and going nuts in there and having fun, and sweating golf is amazing because you all, you just hate yourself and you hate the golfers, and it's all in good fun most of the time. Someone throws in, hey, Will Z is 75-1 right now live. And all of us hit it. All of us were like tailing. And this guy almost hit that 75-1 for us with Will Z. But he ran into a juggernaut, sadly. So here's what we're going to give away. In the comment section, you tell us who's going to win the players this week. Non-Scheffler. Okay, non-Scheffler. If Scheffler wins, I'm sorry, no one wins. But a non-Scheffler pick that you think can win this week, comment. You have to like YouTube and subscribe. You have to. What we're going to do is we're going to give away a month free of Run Pure Sports that goes to the Masters. And we're also going to give away a blister pack sealed from Augusta National 2019 Tiger winning year, large men's polo. That. You guessed the non-Scheffler winner. Like, subscribe, free month of RPS. Natalie guessed Rory. And one guess per person. So Natalie is already out of the contest because she picked.
Okay, two things. Just to clarify, are we saying comment in the live chat or comment on the YouTube video? Because I think we should do comment on the YouTube video, because then if people are watching the replay of this, then they can get those in.
Great
I'm going to
point.
I'm going to make amendment number 2. I think that there should be, I think that Scheffler, who's plus 550 to win this tournament and has like at least over a 15% implied probability. Let's say I'm not going to be able to
You say implied probability. If you say implied probability, that's flex 2.
That's flex number 2. The point is, I think that even if Scheffler wins, whoever comes closer to second should get it, right? So, like, for example,
pure second. Let's say if they get pure second, even a top tied for 2. Okay.
Right. So let's just say if, like, Natalie just threw out Victor in the chat. By the way, you're ineligible. You have to comment it on the YouTube video.
No, but she's also ineligible because she picked 2 people, and that's it. I mean, who does she think she is? Who are you marrying here?
So I think like, for example, if you guess Victor and Scotty finishes 1 and Victor finishes 2, you win, right? Like, I think that's fair. So there'll be a winner no matter what.
Yeah, second or time for second. So listen, the Players, it is diabolical. It's a Pete Dye psychopathic type course. In railroad ties, long fairway bunkers, play towards the trouble, double dog leg par 5s. One of the finest courses in the United States. It'll be fast and firm again, and the crowd will be electric. It's mistake-free golf. It is the 5th major. It's one of those rare tournaments that everyone outside of the majors that everyone remembers where they were when this person won. Ricky, for instance, Tiger, of course. But elite iron play here with a lot of guts. And because there was so much difficulty hitting greens and the rough was so deep and punitive for everyone at the API, this I would put a higher degree of skill around the greens than last week. Webb Simpson types. I would say it's because so many pot bunkers around the greens. Plus, you have these 2-tiered greens. The putting is difficult, even on the non-ball striking-ish type holes. It's really a pure tee to green type course. That's it. So especially no blowups, no ejections, because you can here. There's a ton of water. Look at 17.
Right.
So
only thing I would add to that is it's played in March now, right? So in the first 40 years of the Players, it was played in March. And then from 2007 to 2018, it moved to May. I literally just saw a ghost in your background.
Yep.
What is that shadow? That completely threw me off. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, a shadow just moved across your screen in the background. Anyway, point being, so it's different. It's a different golf course agronomically in March. It's now overseeded, Bermuda overseeded greens. Same type of greens that we see at Phoenix, same type of greens that we see at Valspar, same type of greens that we see at the Heritage, at the American Express. By the way, I know we'll get to a full debate on Scotty Scheffler. These are like the best greens for Scotty Scheffler. He raises his baseline fairly significantly on Bermuda overseeded greens, right? He's already won 3 times on Bermuda overseeded greens, including twice in Phoenix and obviously once at the Players. But, Florida has experienced a lot of rain. We'll have boots on the ground this week, as always. I've been talking to a lot of local guys in Jacksonville. They've gotten a ton of rain. And the Bermuda overseed allows you to be a little bit more aggressive off the tee here because you don't deal with that unpredictability of the Bermuda rough. I put some great quotes from Justin Thomas and Rory in the article as well, talking about how the golf course plays differently now that it's back in March as opposed to May. But to put a bow on the course, because I want to spend an adequate amount of time on the pricing this week, I think if you're oversimplifying this, Wiley, and you touched on it a little bit in terms of like, there are just so many blow up potentials and water on every single hole. If you're just going to live and die by one metric this week, if you're just going to completely oversimplify things and dumb it down and just say, okay, I'm going to do a theme here, I would say play guys who are hitting their irons well right now. Right. And if you look at last year and the top of the leaderboard last year, and it's Scheffler and Hoagie and Hideki. I think Keegan was in there. And it's all guys that are hitting their irons right now. And there was a stat that, my colleague Ron Kloss put out, our friend of the program. They're doing phenomenal stuff over at the Rabbit Hole. Like the last 4 years since the switch to back to March, the guy who wins the Players is the guy who's gaining 1.5 strokes throughout the season, right? Like you cannot show up to this golf course and be in bad form and expect to find it at the Players, right? And the 3 guys this year that are gaining over 1.5 strokes total per round this year is Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Matthew Pavone, interestingly enough.
You're back. You're back with Xander. He showed enough on Sunday for you to be back. I knew the X people would be back. Just give it to him, Xander.
Yeah, we're back. I like Xander a lot.
Well, here last week. So if we take last week as an example, there were some real dust balls. I will take Cantlay was a dust ball. His tee to green was terrible. Fleetwood, retire him. Retire that guy. Fitzpatrick, terrible. Pavone didn't play well tee to green. Morikawa, disappointing, right? And then you look at the guys who performed well both with their irons and then straight tee to green. Scheffler, of course. Lowry, although he ran into a buzzsaw on Sunday, and I think he just realized I could never beat this person in my career. Putnam, Wilsey, and Siwoo Kim. Siwoo Kim couldn't find a putter until Sunday, and he found a putter, right? He's had 7 this year. I think he's changed it, or 7 recently at least.
Yeah.
But Siwoo Kim is a winner here, and he doesn't need form for anything, but he performed outside of his score. I think he was top 4 tee to green last week, and he was number 1 going into Sunday. And Hoagie continues to perform, continues to hit those irons well, right?
Yeah.
So I think you've got a case study here of players who performed well going into API and performed well at API and have performed well at the Players that I think you can carry over. The 3 there's some traps too. I mean, there's some traps. People love Russell Henley. I think he's a trap. People like Max Homa. Sorry, Max. I think he's a trap this week.
I agree. I don't love Homa right now either.
He putt well. Todd putt well. Henley, I can't watch him swing. He putt well. I'm not taking those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the second thing is that I don't think anyone has won back-to-back at the Players. Scheffler
not only has no one won back-to-back in the 40-plus year history of the Players, a defending champion has never finished better than 5th, right? So like even Prime Tiger has never finished better than 5th in a title defense, which is going to be fascinating to watch Scheffler, because Scheffler over the last 2.5, 3 years is like a 50% of the time, essentially, he finishes in the top 5.
Yeah,
So it's like
Henley's a Ponzi scheme. Absolutely. And I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like a 50-50 proposition. Scheffler finishes in the top 5, yet a defending champion has never finished top 5 at the Players
Yes.
in its 40+ year history.
And, you've got guys like Tiger. Scheffler's will never be a Tiger. No one will ever be a Tiger, but Scheffler is as close to him right now on tour than there ever has been, or at least recent history. And, Scheffler's a different cat. I agree. But if you want a narrative, anti-Scheffler narrative, there's one. So still 17 under last year. He won by 5, right? So last week was he was 15 under, right? I mean, he was 15 under, and no mortal should have been like more than -9. I think Wyndham Clark was 10 under, and that was
with a birdie on the last hole,
with a bomb on the last hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to give it to the Wyndham Clark people. He's not in the same Scheffler category. He doesn't have the same iron play, but that guy, he's a good golfer. I mean, he's
Can we get a little Vic lap there for me, talking about how, we bet this guy at 100-1 at Pebble Beach a month ago, top 10 golfer on the PGA Tour, but he was getting priced. Wyndham Clark.
Oh, I thought you meant Vic Hovland. I wasn't going to victory lap Vic Hovland.
No, whole other conversation there.
They need to pull that Ping commercial about how he's saying he's better around the green now, and he's 148th on tour. That is a Ponzi scheme. Victor Hovland's a Ponzi scheme.
What do you think about the pants? Did you see the bright pink?
Well,
pants?
I mean, it's fun to talk about for the first 5 seconds, but then the PGA broadcast tour, who is paid by the word and has to fill airtime, every ounce of TV at the coverage they have, could not stop obsessing over his outfit. I don't understand it. Let it go. It's an outfit. It's fine.
Did you hear somebody? He got asked about his outfits. I think this was last year at the Masters. Yeah. Somebody asked, like, do you have any input in terms of because he's a Jay Lindenberg guy. Do you have any input in terms of what Jay Lindenberg's asking you to wear? And he said, you know what? I don't. They just pay me and tell me what to wear. Yeah. And I put it on.
If I put that on, they put me in fucking jail. But he can wear it.
He can pull it off, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you had the Ryan Gosling "I'm Just Ken" performance on the Oscars, and it was the same outfit. I was like,
I thought that was really good. Did you catch that? Did you watch the Oscars?
I never watched that show, but it was excellent. I thought
it was really good.
They did a good job. They got through it. Bang, bang, bang. Okay. So in that regard.
Yeah.
If you want a narrative anti-Scheffler, there you go. There's one. You really can't, because you probably need to lock him. I don't care. He's a top 5 lock. But let's look at the guys who've won recently, right? Scheffler, amazing touch around the green, Masters winner. Cam Smith, at the time, the best putter on tour, amazing touch, Masters type player. Thomas, same thing. Webb Simpson in his prime, amazing touch. Siwoo Kim, I think one of the more underrated around the green wedge games on tour. They called him the best. Jason Day, same thing. Ricky Fowler, same thing. Tiger Woods, no explanation. So those guys are hands guys, touch guys, recovery guys. That is going to be a fundamental piece of what you need to have this week, in my opinion. It scares me about guys like Tom Hoagie, because I don't know much about the sport.
Yeah. No, he does not have a very good short game. Okay, so let's just have the Scheffler conversation up top, because I think that it's very ballsy to fade him, right? But I'm happy to lay out the argument for why you could fade him this week. So we can do this. Are you
prosecuting or defending?
Your defense of playing him, and I'm going to play the prosecutor of why you should fade him, and the chat is the jury, right? So put in the chat right now any of your guys' opinions. I'm really curious if anyone in the chat has the balls to say right now, like, I actually don't think I'm going to play Scotty Scheffler this week. And I think that this was such a fun conversation last week with Minwoo Lee, where, and I think that is one of the benefits of Run Pure Sports, right? It's not a monolith. Like we all do not agree. Like Big T, for example, thought that it was the most obvious decision of all time. Okay, to play Minwoo Lee. I saw a lot of merit in playing him. That's why we talked about it. I ultimately faded him. We did a premium show on Wednesday night, me, Kyle, and Kobe, Ball Knowers After Dark, Uncomfortable Clicks, where every single one of them was like, there's a 0% chance that I'm playing Minwoo Lee. And I think at the end of and we talked about it extensively on this show. And I think at the end of the day, you can't really victory lap it on either side, right? Like he ended up finishing T44. It was kind of the mean finish for the guys priced around him, but within $300 of Minwoo Lee, there was like 10 guys that outperformed Minwoo Lee.
Yeah,
now,
that's what I said.
the guys
In those price ranges, when
there's
Minwoo Lee, if he makes the cut and he performs the best in that price range, then you could be okay. But you had Hoagie.
right, right. And so to be honest, like, you know, the guys that I picked around him as pivots did outperform Minwoo Lee, but the difference was really negligible. Like you really had to get Todd and Grillo were the two guys that you had to get. So we can do that again this week, right? Like we can lay out the argument for and against Scotty. Do you have any closing Minwoo Lee thoughts? Where did you end up on him? And then do you want to lay out the case? Cause you'll be arguing pro Scotty this week.
I didn't play max in the 20. I didn't like the contest sizing, and I don't like no cut events. Well, no cut events. I don't like these elevated and smaller fields. I didn't play him in the 5-5-5, but I did play chalk Adam Scott, which will haunt me forever because I hate playing chalk Adam Scott. I hate playing Adam Scott, and I just rope myself into it and plop, in I go. And I didn't play Scheffler when I said the first thing on here was lock Scheffler and just let it go. So,
by the way, I owe you $110. I owe you $100.
Yeah, of course. We can do it again this week. I'll give you plus 200. Rory.
I have to think about that one. We'll get to Rory at some point.
Well, that's the thing. On my closing remarks on my defense of Scheffler is, I think you're clinically insane if you fade Scheffler this week.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I mean, I don't care what. I used to be 14,000. We should have been 14,000 last week. So you can mega mind it, but let's hear it. What's your prosecution?
It's tough this week because and I have not made a decision yet. I think it takes a lot of balls. There are DFS players that I know that will do it. They will probably be on Ball Knowers After Dark Wednesday night.
Ball Knowers After Dark.
The fastest growing show in the RPS community. It has a small cult following of the Ball Knowers After Dark heads.
And I'm sorry for not launching the show, but I was out with these RPS yahoos.
We were getting murdered in the comment section.
I didn't even know what was going on until
we thought it was the end of Ball Knowers After Dark. It was we did one show and then we thought it was over before it really got any momentum.
It was my private sabotage.
Right. Okay. So if I was laying out the case not to play Scheffler, I would say, okay, he is 12.8K this week. He is, now we are talking $1,200 more expensive than Rory. Scotty Scheffler is $2K more expensive than Will Zalatoris. So like the difference this week between Scotty and Will Zalatoris is the difference this week between, let's say, I don't know, somebody like Morikawa and somebody like Bo Hostler, somebody like Fowler, right? So, you know, if you think that if you think that Scotty Scheffler is $2,000 worthy of being $2,000 more expensive than somebody like Will Zalatoris, maybe he is. I think there's arguments that he's not. And as we have seen at the Players Championship over the years, we talked about this all Florida swing. This is a golf course where chalk comes to die, right? It's been a really tough event for chalk over the years, and that's because the variability of this golf course is at an all-time high, probably even higher than the Honda Classic, where you can get tripped up so easily here and make a ton of big numbers. So, it's a 4-day golf tournament, right? Crazy things can happen in a 4-day golf tournament. We have this incredible long-term 40-year trend of defending champions really struggling in their title defense at TPC Sawgrass for whatever reason. And he's going to be, 50% at 12.8 because there's a lower?
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't spoken to anyone this morning that's thinking of fading him, myself included. So
wait, you can be the prosecution and not fade him. This is
I'm just laying out.
This is a mistrial.
I'm laying out the case because I think it's important to talk about.
Kobe.
I think too many people are gonna. I want to do content where we talk about all angles, right? I think that is, in my opinion, better, more productive content. So
40.05. That's the over under. I'd say 40.05.
I think that's fair. Are you talking about like in the big $5 again?
Let's say the $25, the milli.
Yeah, $25 milli, 40.5. I don't know. If Kyle's still in the chat, I want to hear if he's going over or under because he's really good on ownership.
Okay, let's go right into the pricing and ranges. Let me give you a little bit of extra defense because this case is closed. I won this trial. It was in the ranges of, I did 9.7 plus, and then 8.7 to 9.6. So 8.7 plus, 9.7 plus. This is the range I'm going to look at for pricing in terms of guys I like the most. As much as I loved Will Zalatoris, there was still something lacking last week. And can I trust his putter? So do I like Will Zalatoris more than Scheffler this week, or do I need to? Possibly at 12.8. It's going to be tough to fit two of those guys, unlike last week, into a lineup. But I haven't started hand building as much yet. But do I like anyone else there? Can I trust Justin Thomas? Do I like Xander Schauffele? No. Rory, that's a free square for all the people who pitfall into that guy and who chased him in Showdown on Sunday. Everyone chased Rory. He's going to win. He's not going to win. He's not. He's going to go back. He'll tease you on Saturday.
Yeah. Or he'll, when he's firmly out of it, he'll start making birdies.
When the pressure he puts himself is off, he'll perform. If it's Thursday and he's got to win a major like an Augusta, kablamo. So I don't love. Listen, Hideki played well. So the injury news from whomever that came from, shame on you, because Hideki played still amazing.
I know. Tell me about it. The Hideki pivot to Tom Kim at the 11th hour because I fell into the Hideki injury news. Was very costly for me from a DraftKings standpoint. Okay, so if Scheffler is a lock, if that's an easy one, if that's a free square, who's the second man in? Like, how high do you feel going up comfortably? Because I like Xander a lot more than you do this week, but I played around with some Scheffler Xander lineups, and I think it leaves you with 6.4K left for the next four golfers. That's pretty tough. Even if there's some guys in the 5K I like, but if you're playing Scheffler, I think the guy I like the most in the 9s as a second man in, would be either Hideki or Morikawa. And I say that with some considerable concerns about Morikawa. Like who would you feel as comfortable with as a second man in? And do you agree that if you're going 100% Scheffler, two-part question for you. Do you agree if you're going 100% Scheffler, that probably means that you're like full fade on Rory
Yes.
Xander,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Would you do a Scheffler JT lineup?
I was just pan building one while we did that, and
6.6K remaining for Scheffler JT. Like, it's tight, man. That's like,
it's difficult. Now I do like some
yeah,
6K plays, but I think the absolute stone best is 7-7 plus this week, and a 7-7 plus this week. There's like there's even up to like 5 plays I really, really like. So no, I think that Justin Thomas showed something last week, but he can still get kind of active off the tee and take himself out. His irons look to be back. His swing looks amazing. Cantlay, the Morikawa Cantlay flop lag, because flop lag in golf is real. I mean, they can come back and perform well. And Cantlay tried to make a bit of a run, but Morikawa, I would say, is potentially in the Venn diagram circle of frauds. He's not in there, but he's outside sitting on a chair. So that doesn't interest me at all. Wyndham Clark, I like, great player, but I'm all in on Scheffler. And the issue for the defense is that even on 8-7 plus, when you're talking about Bear, Burns, tough. I didn't like that with Burns last week. Lowry, you saw really his ceiling. To me, he got stymied playing with Scheffler. I mean, it's just you can see the imbalance in the game between Scheffler's and him.
Yeah.
And then I can't believe Fleetwood's still 8-8. I just cannot believe. He must have some sort of contract with DraftKings that they do that. Tagala, yeah, good iron player, good around the green, still could be a trap. And Cam Young, he might be in the Venn diagram of frauds. So don't love a lot of it over 8-7. So that's how I can make the case for Scheffler all the way down to 8-7.
Yeah. And even to give more, the other thing that I would add to the defense of playing Scheffler, see how this has turned on me so quickly. I'm now in the position where I'm arguing for playing Scheffler when I was supposed to play the role of the prosecution. Shout out Anatomy of the Fall, by the way, one of my favorite movie of the year, won Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars. It's a French courtroom drama, which is excellent. But the other thing that I would add to the Scheffler conversation,
if you say French courtroom drama on this show, that's a flex, and that's number 4.
The other thing that I would add to the pro Scheffler case is that we saw last week what happens on a golf course that actually separates tee to green skill, and how much easier it is for Scheffler to separate himself from the rest of the pack on a golf course like Bay Hill versus a golf course like the American Express, right? If you put Scheffler on a golf course where the driving accuracy percentage is below 60% and the greens and regulation percentage is below 60%, Bay Hill had both of those. TPC Sawgrass also have both of those. It is that much easier for Scheffler to separate himself because there's less putting variance, right? And there's more tee to green skill required. And you get that again with TPC Sawgrass, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of variability to this golf course because of the water. But the inverse of that argument is that's just more ammo for Scheffler to be able to separate himself, because the harder a golf course is from tee to green, the more that Scheffler's advantage grows. And oh, by the way, these happen to be the best possible greens for him on the PGA Tour. He's won 3 times on overseeded Bermuda.
Right. And plus,
So.
tee to green skill for those people new to golf. And there are also people new to golf. And I forget that in the Discord sometimes when I feel like we're over talking a little bit, is that tee to green skill incorporates who gets the ball closest to the hole the best. And that incorporates around the green skill and getting yourself out of trouble. And so even when the moments when I said Scheffler, okay, I have Scheffler. I said in the Discord, he's dead. He's dead left in the rough. We finally got him. Will Zalatoris can finally catch up. This dude will hit it to 2 feet every time. So he is flawless tee to green. This is why he wins at Augusta National. His ball flight is so high into firm and fast greens, right? It just plops. It doesn't roll out as much. And so, you know, I mean, we could steam and smoke Scheffler's pole some more, but it's really easy to do when I don't love majority of the players to even come close to him in the even range of his price. So
yeah. And I think that's going to be a very popular take this week. I think probably Ball Knowers After Dark will probably be the only content that I know at least one or two of the guys will probably be out on Scheffler. That probably won't. I'm not sure I will even be one of them. Okay, so let's start to get down into more rapid fire stuff. Can I ask you a couple? I think this is a good way to talk about this. I'm trying out a new format here, but I just want to get as many players in as possible. I want to touch on as many guys in as possible in the next 20 minutes or so. So, okay. So can I ask you, we talked a little bit about the nines. I think my favorite is Morikawa. It seems like you're a little bit higher on, if you had to give your favorite in the nines, who would it be? You're more Wyndham, Hideki?
No, Hideki for sure.
Hideki?
He's in robot mode. Granted, he did have that wrist wrapped, and he also hit that 10-foot shot from rough to rough late. I don't know if you saw that shot on camera, but he was deep
I
there
did.
in the rough, and it looked like he stung his wrist a little bit more. So, I mean, if you want one thing, and you go back to Zalatoris now at 9.9. I don't know.
Okay, so let's do a little rapid fire. Favorite play 8.7 to 7.7 for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I think 7.7 to 8.7 is one of the most accessible, high-end, best play ranges, largely because of performance coming in and performance last week. Let's talk about one, Siwoo Kim. Winner here. Near first, tee to green last week. Could not find a putter. Found it Sunday. That's all I need about Siwoo Kim. He looked impressive. You talk about around the green skill, Siwoo Kim. Tom Hoge, again, what has he done wrong? He could be in the eights. He could be mid eights and still be a play. Tom Hoge's 7.8. Harris English. Hate playing Harris English, but guess what? On tough courses, who always shows up? Harris English. Don't love JT Poston. Don't love Eric Cole. No way to Keegan Bradley. And your guy, well, two guys, Corey Connors. Again, tee to green, well, great last week. An Augusta guy, good hands. And then Ben On. I mean, Russ Henley's a trap to me. Finau never. Ben On continues to impress. Ben On last week. Again, one of the top in tee to green, top 10. So there's a ton in the mid sevens, a ton. And you can formulate your line. That's why you can lock Scheffler, because you can formulate a lineup with 3 or 4 plays in that range and be really safe. Now, in terms of ownership, you're probably going to be, Hoge is going to be loved. Siwoo Kim hopefully will be steamed. Ben On will be steamed. So I think that the high 8s to low 9s and all those players above there, if you're an ownership guy, no one's going to play him. No one's going to play Spieth. No one's going to play Cantlay. No one's going to play Morikawa. No one's going to play, Schauffele. You got it called. They'll play So yeah, there's a ton 7-7 to 8-7. Love that range.
Okay, I like it a lot too, man. And a couple guys I'll throw out that I'm surprised you didn't mention. I really like Finau here. And I don't think Finau will be highly owned. One of the reasons why I really like Finau is if you look at the recent ball striking form, like Finau is hitting the ball better than like 98% of guys on the PGA Tour right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't play Bay Hill, which is a bit curious to me. But I think like if you're just going with and this is why I love Corey Connors and Siwoo Kim, but if you're just building a lineup with the one overarching theme of I'm just going to take guys in really good approach form, then you are slamming Finau, you are slamming Connors, you are slamming Siwoo Kim, and then I will give you the nuts at 7.9 is Brian Harman.
Yeah,
which
that was another one.
I'm shocked you didn't mention Harman.
Well,
because
I forgot.
Harman's a Wiley guy. Harman's an RPS guy. Harman was in Big T's winning Millie Maker lineup at the Players, and Harman.
How's he a Wiley guy?
You love Harman.
I hate Harman. I hate Harman. I hate everything he stands for.
You've said multiple times. You said multiple times this year he's like the most mispressed. I forgot what slate it was. But you've written for Harman on the show, and if you look at the approach numbers from Bay Hill, like Harman hit his irons incredibly well. Yeah, so I think Harman. I actually prefer Harman 7.9 over Hoagie 7.8 personally.
Yeah, Harman last week I was worried because Harman was coming, and none of us had him, and I thought he was going to be a spoiler. You know, he's got great touch. He's got great hands around the green. But again, and he was top 5-ish tee to green last week. You know, that's what I'm saying. Harman, Hoagie, Siwoo Kim, Ben On, Corey Connors, Finau. I think that he's got a huge family. He takes tournament. He's got young kids. I mean, he's got a lot of distractions, in my opinion. But you can like a lot of it for sure. I was just looking for a play right here.
No, there's just some great questions in the chat that get me distracted. Okay, let's go a little bit farther down. Why
is no one guessing in our contest? We literally said it.
No, it's the comments, right? Like the live chat isn't going to get you in. You have to comment on the YouTube video. So
am I just learning how YouTube works right now?
Yeah. I'm explaining to you the algorithm coming from the guy who refuses to put his podcast on YouTube, even though he's been told he's leaving a tremendous amount of money on the table by not doing that. Speaking of flop lag.
Hello, I'm here, Brian Kirshner. So
Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Adam Scott, 7.6.
No
thanks. Okay.
No.
I'll play him.
Jason Day, Dustball. Fleetwood, Dustball. Adam Scott, Dustball.
Crew, yes, just comment in the comment section after the video. If you're joining us now, who you think is going to either win the Players or finish second place behind Scotty Scheffler. Actually, Brian Kirshner had the balls, one of the few guys to come on and have the balls on Twitter this morning and said Scotty Scheffler is definitively not winning the Players this week. So I really respect that. Actually,
that's not a person with balls.
Jason, the comments open after the show is over. There you go.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Here it is. Here's the contest again. You name the player non-Scheffler who is going to win this week. If they finish second or tied for second, you get. Sorry, Brian. You get the Augusta National shirt, blister packed, large from 2019, the Tiger year. You get 1 month free of our Run Pure Sports, all sports. And
all sports, not even just golf only.
That's you get them all, and you get around with Tiger at Sawgrass. That part is true.
So 7.7 below.
Yeah,
Keith Mitchell 7.5.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Yeah,
I started that this week. I was like, do people forget about Killer Keith?
Don't forget about Killer Keith.
Do they though? Adam Hadwin burned people last week. I don't say I like him, but I don't hate it. Cam Davis, still impressive to me. Nick Taylor. If you're a 6'7" to 7'7", Nick Taylor.
Yeah. This is going to tilt you too, but what about Alex Norn at 7.2?
Well, yeah,
Played great at the Honda. He's a grinder. He's a Florida guy. He's got a really good short game. He's had a lot of success on overseeded Bermuda. Eckroat every single lineup's his BK. I can't disagree with that. I like Eckroat a lot.
I mean, even 7'7" and above, we didn't even talk about him. I mean, he's still 8'4", and he showed it last week, right? The guy doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So many plays.
M came back. I like Sung Jae a little bit this week as well. So yeah, I would say my favorites once we get a little bit farther is Mitchell.
Yep.
Horschel. I love Billy Ho this week.
Horschel.
Jacksonville guy. He plays
Yep.
TPC Sawgrass all the time. He's really familiar with this agronomy.
Agronomy
and he really wants to win the Players badly, obviously, which doesn't mean he's going to do it, but he's a Jacksonville guy. What do you think about Doug Gim, who's 6.8, has finished top 20 in 4 straight starts, and has played well at the Players before? That feels like a very comfortable click for a lot of people. No?
Dust ball? Nope. Never Doug Gim.
Out on Doug Gim. All right. I think he'll be fairly popular. I just want to flag that Doug Gim, I think, will be really popular. And then I think Pavone will be really popular too at 6.7.
You think people go back to that guy?
I do, because
Tiger Woods.
I do, because of that stat that Ron laid out about how, and I agree with this. I think the highest correlation in terms of like what's the safest bet in terms of guys that are going to play well at the Players, like guys that are hitting their irons well right now and guys that are playing well this season, because like I've said multiple times on the show already, it's just not a golf course where if you're playing bad, you're suddenly going to find it here. And Pavone is playing the best golf this year outside of Scotty Scheffler and Xander. He's like number 2 in the FedEx Cup.
If you want,
so I think, and he's 6.7. So I think people will play Pavone. Crew, why would I talk about
French courtroom drama? Play Pavone.
There you go. Yeah, play Pavone. I'm not going to play.
Don't talk about Hostler. I can't talk about him. But
can't talk about Hostler.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Not going to play Hostler.
6, 7, and below, right? Sort of the bargain bin, and there's some bargains. I'll have a little smattering of Webb Simpson for sure.
You're nuts. Webb Simpson beat Minwoo Lee last week. That was not on my bingo card.
Of course he did, because he has guts. He's a U.S. Open winner. I think one of the biggest mispriced, and I'll say this right now for the record, the biggest misprice of the week, the BMO. Biggest misprice of the week. I didn't get that right. But what's your Ballers After Dark? Ballers no ballers? What's it called?
Ball Knowers After Dark. I talked about it.
Is Ball Knowers one word or hyphenated?
Hyphenated.
Okay, then the acronym for the show is BAD. That's not good. That's not good, Brad. I'm going to save that. I'm going to come on Wednesday and have a hat that says BAD.
We welcome.
I'm coming on.
Like, that's the thing about Ball Knowers After Dark. Like, there's really no rules. Like, somebody asked, like, is Ball Knowers After Dark for everybody? Short answer to the question, no. Second answer, like, this is the one show where it's like we try and put out a lot of really good free content and like keep this show free, keep my podcast free. Ball Knowers After Dark is the definition of a show that only works because it's behind the paywall. Like, I have Kobe guest on my podcast all the time. Kobe on a show behind the paywall is so much different than Kobe on a show for public consumption. So yeah, there are really no rules with BAD.
Yeah, and only members of RPS can see it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the worst price of the week. WP? I can't acronym that. Andrew Putnam. Talk to me. Have your eyes light up. 6'3" for Andrew Putnam.
Sure. Played great last week. I prefer Glover, Novak, and Rye and Todd. And
Novak was my second.
It's
No
such a
vacuum.
good range. I think the mid
Such
to
a good
low
range.
sixes are really good. Like, I really like Glover. Rogers was my main pivot off of Minwoo Lee last week, and
There you go, Brian Kushner.
he
Look at this guy.
kicked Minwoo's
Balls.
ass.
Smart.
Glover
Smart
can't
balls.
putt. Blake, you are correct. I think this is a good golf course to play team no putt. However, it's a golf course that accentuates tee to green skill, driving accuracy, and Glover excels in that. Andrew Novik obviously hitting his irons incredibly well. Aaron Rai is probably the most accurate driver on the PGA Tour. So if you just want to play a guy based on, I trust him to keep the ball in the fairway more so than maybe any other player in this field, Aaron Rai. And then Brendan Todd, Austin Eckroat. I also am a huge fan of both of them.
Eckroat, recent winner, right?
Yep, cognizant.
Eckroat played well last week. Did he play last week or did he?
Yeah, he was fine. He was another one of my Minwoo
Decent
pivots
stats.
that played a little bit better than Minwoo,
But now you see with all this value downrange, and we're not going to talk about some of these guys down the fives, but there's one or two. Bryce Garnett won last week in Puerto Rico, right?
God,
Dirty Carl Yuan's 5-1. Never would play it, but I'm just saying. Now you see why you can play a 12-8 Scotty Scheffler extremely comfortably. Does the great 6-8 range make it easier to play Scotty? I literally just answered that question, Brian. Yes.
Yeah. But you want to know what's interesting is I think that like the low sixes is going to get Kyle Pavone was in Anatomy of the Fall. He was the lawyer. That's so good. Blair,
it's all right, Brian.
Blair at 5K, I really like. But what I was going to say is I think that the low sixes, the group that we just talked about is going to be very popular, and you're going to see a fair amount of Scheffler lineups where there's multiple low six guys, but I still think that the fives, I mean, do you see any like big chalk emerging in the fives? Like, who do you think is the most popular 5K player this week?
I mean, there's chalk for the range in terms. I don't think there's chalk overall.
Yeah. In terms of just like comparatively to his peers, like who do you think is the most
in the fives?
Five? Yeah.
I mean,
tough. I don't have a good.
Taylor Moore was part of our, exclusive club until last week, but
right.
I mean,
he's at, red state election year. Taylor Moore.
He still made the cut.
Yeah.
These fives, Dietrich people like. Lauer, he's played well. The Woo guys, they're not brothers. What was that? You're the biggest Woo supporter on earth. Done?
Yeah, we're out.
You done?
I'm done. Good. I'm done with the Woo brothers. So although Brandon did play well at Sawgrass last year.
Sam Ryder. I mean, what's wrong with him?
Yeah, Ryder. Kyle mentioned him.
I don't think there's super chalk. I think there's some plays down here. But here's what: if you're playing in the fives, which a lot of people will do this build, they want Scheffler with the Rory, Scheffler with the Thomas. That will be a very good starting point. And at that point, you need those guys. Because what was it, 6'4" average?
Scheffler with the Zalatoris.
Yes. Whereas I'm probably going to be more like Scheffler with a bunch of those amazing plays in the 7-7 pluses.
Yeah. Not to give away like my single entry build, but like I love lineups that go Scheffler down to like Connors. Like you could do Scheffler, Connors, Siwoo. I think it's like an excellent start. Like that was the most natural way that I started building.
Your reaction to me saying you're playing the Woos. It was like disgust.
Oh my God. Those guys is same with Svensson, who I luckily avoided.
He's done. He is done. We're done with him.
6.1. Yeah. Okay, let's get out of here. Okay. Your winner. Who would be okay? No, that doesn't count. Who's your non-Scheffler division winner?
I'm gonna stab, and this is gonna steam, but whatever. Because we got that power. I think Siwoo Kim is firmly in play. Yeah, I love that.
You're going to play Scheffler. You're going to walk Scheffler.
Absolutely.
Brian thinks you're a donkey. I haven't made a decision yet.
Who's going to win, Brian, over Scheffler?
Tune into Ball Nose After Dark.
But Tia, he's going to play Akshay and just be like what? The Sharks versus Fish Food. And Akshay's going to miss the cut, but it was still a good play.
I'm going to say my winner is Corey Connors. Is going to win.
I love it.
Championship. Yeah. So
if Corey Connors top fives or wins, he's going to be smashed at Augusta.
Because he's usually mispriced there. So friendly reminder before we finish up, Tommy Fleetwood cameo.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
In the comment section, write your non-Scheffler division most likely to win the Players. We will revisit this on the show next week. I will be in Mexico for next week's Monday show. Trying to get to 8 flexes in the final minute. But I'll be going live from Mexico on Monday. We will recap that. And free membership to RPS all the way through the Masters, as well as a Masters poll as well. All you got to do, subscribe in the comment section. Who's going to win the Players? Can't say Scheffler.
I got to say, I'm the stupidest person on earth. I think pre-show Siwoo Kim was 70-1. He's 45-1.
Are you serious? I was going to bet that too. There's not any lingering 70s out there.
I mean, what usually I can't say the word, but usually another book may have a better price. Still not good. He's being absolutely hammered right now. Brian's on the winners. Charlie. Tommy Fleetwood is not winning.
You could get Siwoo Kim at 60-1 on Caesars. That's about it. He's going down quick.
He's going down quick.
Yeah.
So stupid. All right.
Let's get out of
here. Last time you just left and I just stood here like by myself with my big fucking stupid face. It was hilarious.
And I'm out again because I got to write